Tyson Fury is one of the most extraordinary figures boxing has ever produced. A heavyweight champion, a master of mind games, a man who defeated giants, both inside the ring and within himself, but behind the belts, the comebacks, and the global fame. There exists a chapter of his story that continues to divide opinion. A chapter marked by a positive test, a controversial explanation, a legal battle that lasted years, and a question that has never fully disappeared. Do you believe Tyson Fury was innocent? Or do you believe the farmer's story? Tonight, we revisit one of the most complex and controversial episodes in modern boxing history, the Tyson Fury doping ban. And as we do, we ask you to decide for yourself. The world before the fall. In early 2015, Tyson Fury was already an unconventional heavyweight contender. Loud, unpredictable, and deeply confident, he had built his reputation not just on skill, but on psychological warfare. In February of that year, Fury defeated Christian Hammer in London. It was a routine win, one that kept his momentum moving forward. Few could have imagined that something taken from that night, a simple sample, would later threaten his entire career. After the bout, both Tyson Fury and his cousin Hughie Fury underwent standard anti-doping tests. At the time, nothing seemed unusual. But months later, the results would quietly change everything. The positive test. The tests showed elevated levels of nandrolone, a prohibited anabolic steroid associated with muscle recovery and strength. The result dated back to February 2015, but the public would not learn about it until 2016, when the UK anti-doping agency, UK Anti-Doping, made the findings public. By then, Tyson Fury was no longer just a contender. He was the man who had traveled to Germany and dethroned Vladimir Klitschko, a unified heavyweight champion. So let us ask you something right now. If this test had been announced immediately in 2015, would history have unfolded differently? The wild boar defense. When confronted with the test result, Fury's legal team presented one of the most unusual explanations in anti-doping history. They claimed the elevated nandrolone levels came not from banned substances, but from food. Specifically, from eating uncastrated wild boar meat. According to the defense, meat from such animals can contain naturally high levels of testosterone, which may metabolize into nandrolone and trigger a positive test. It was an explanation that shocked the boxing world. Some laughed, some questioned it. Others wondered whether science truly allowed such a possibility. So we ask you, does this explanation sound credible to you? Or does it feel like a story built to escape punishment? A case that would not end. Instead of being resolved quickly, the case dragged on year after year. Legal costs mounted, not just for Fury, but for UK anti-doping itself. By 2017, the agency had reportedly spent close to $600,000 pursuing the case. At the same time, Tyson Fury's life was unraveling. He ballooned in weight. He disappeared from public view. He later spoke openly about severe mental health struggles during this period. And here, another question emerges. Were these years a punishment in themselves, or were they simply unrelated personal battles? The Deal, 2017. In December 2017, the long-running saga finally reached a conclusion. Rather than continue a costly legal war, both sides agreed to a settlement. Tyson Fury accepted a 2-year ban from boxing. But here is the key detail. The ban was made retroactive to 2015. This meant Fury had already served the suspension during his time away from the sport and was immediately free to return. A second charge, alleging that Fury had refused to provide a sample in 2016, was dropped as part of the agreement. Officially, the case was closed. But was it really? The Farmer's Story, 2020. 3 years later, in 2020, the controversy resurfaced. A farmer from Lancashire, Martin Carefoot, gave an interview to the Mail on Sunday that reignited global debate. He claimed that Fury's team had offered him $25,000 to sign false statements, confirming he had sold wild boar meat to the fighters. Carefoot alleged that he had never bred or sold wild boar at all, and that he had gone along with the story because he felt in too deep. But then, something changed. Months later, the farmer withdrew his allegations. He stopped cooperating with further investigations. The new inquiry was closed without additional punishment for Fury. So we must ask, why withdraw such serious claims? Fear, pressure, regret? Or was the original accusation itself untrue? The cocaine controversy. Separate from the Nandrolone case, another issue emerged. In 2016, Tyson Fury tested positive for cocaine. Under world anti-doping rules, cocaine is not banned outside of competition, but the incident raised serious concerns. It contributed to the British Boxing Board of Control suspending Fury's license. It also played a role in Fury's decision to vacate his world titles and step away from the sport. At that moment, Tyson Fury lost everything. His belts, his momentum, his place at the top of the world. And the question becomes unavoidable. Was boxing watching a career end or a collapse before the greatest comeback the sport would ever see? What if none of this had happened? Now, let us pause and imagine. What if the positive test had never occurred? What if the ban had never existed? What if the controversy had never followed him? Would Fury have dominated uninterrupted for years? Would we have seen different opponents, different outcomes, a different legacy? Or did this period, painful as it was, actually forge the fighter who later returned stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Did adversity shape the champion? Or did it cost him irreplaceable years? Your verdict, the Tyson Fury doping case, is not simple. It is layered, it is legally complex, it is emotionally charged. There are documents, there are explanations, there are accusations and retractions, and still, years later, no universal agreement. So now we ask you directly, do you believe Tyson Fury was innocent? Do you believe the wild boar explanation? Or do you trust the farmer's original account? And how different would Fury's career look if this chapter never existed? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Because in boxing, as in life, sometimes the hardest fight is not the one in the ring,